Good afternoon, Ellis County. Kevin Crouch here with Ellis County Weather, and as you can see behind me here it is. There is a severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued, and goes for about another, 50 minutes here. I gotta get the typing to where it's bigger. It's until 12:15 here, and we are looking at quite the line of storms that extends really from Duncanville all the way down to Valley Farms there into parts of Navarro County there, the eastern parts of Navarro County. This is going to be the strongest part of the storm here from about DeSoto on down towards Bristol. And this is the part of the storm where we could be seeing some, in fact, I've gotten reports of small hail that's going on right now, and gusty winds, as well as plenty of lightning there that's going on as well. So these storms are going to be moving off to the southeast. If we just put this in motion here, let me get this little box off there. These storms are going to continue to move off to the southeast, and you can see an alpha boundary ahead of it too. That's going to bring in some cooler temperatures. The really nice thing about this is it's going to bring in much cooler temperatures over the course of at least the next hour or so, right? I don't know that it's really going to do a whole lot to help us with the heat this afternoon, but it should at least put us behind a little bit. It may keep us from hitting triple digits. But these storms continue to push in, and as you can see, they're in Oakleaf, Pecan Hill, Palmer right now. Let's take kind of a closer look. Let me get my little card here with all my controls on it, and let me see. Let me get a closer look, and we'll see kind of where the hail core is going to be. So just south of Lancaster, between Lancaster and Pecan Hill, this is really the area where you're going to see most of that hail. Kind of in this gray area, and could very well be looking at some severe level hail. Really, the severe level is where you get to an inch in diameter or greater. So that's kind of what we're seeing at this time possible in that area. Again, between Lancaster and Pecan Hill there. and this is going to continue to move on. So in the Red Oak area, and eventually in Oakleaf and Ovilla, and eventually in the Midlothian area north of Waxahachie here, that's probably where we're going to see the biggest chance of getting some severe level hail going on. So let's get back to just the conventional view here. And I'm gonna just make clear at this very moment that I am a dad at home with his sons, and one of them might be hungry. So there may be a cameo here pretty soon. Just kind of hang with me here. But I wanted to make sure that you at least saw what we're looking at here. And this is going to bring some pretty serious downpours. I don't think that this is going to be enough to help with our drought conditions. I think that we're going to be looking at conditions staying mostly the same in that regard, but I do think that we will see some pretty decent downpours out of this over the next several minutes as this continues to move through. And as I put this into motion again, moving pretty quickly to the southeast, we'll actually get kind of an idea on this. It looks like that is moving to the southwest, rather. I'm not used to saying that things are moving to the west. That's a little bit different for us, but it's moving south at about 15 miles per hour. So if we actually put a track on that, let me see if I can get that pulled up here. And really, this is going to have to be, I'm going to have to change the setting on this. Okay. If I can get that to, the problem, I love Radar Omega, but the problem is that when you click, it brings up that box, and it can sometimes really kind of get in the way. So let's take this out at about 15 miles per hour. And here you're going to see, this is the impact times here. Ike in about now, Boyce about now, Waxahachie, roughly about 20 minutes here. Get over to this box here. Rager Springs in about 22 minutes, Garrett in about 27 minutes, Howard in about half an hour or so. So this is kind of what we're seeing as far as when the storms are going to be here. So about 20 minutes in Waxahachie as far as when to expect that. It's moving into the Red Oak area right now. So Red Oak, Oak Leaf, Pecan Hill getting hit pretty hard right now. Palmer getting hit pretty hard, and it's going to be moving right towards Waxahachie, right towards Midlothian here, Waxahachie down to Ennis, going to be moving right towards this 287 corridor here. So if you're thinking, oh, well, I haven't seen rain yet, just give it time. Odds are it's coming your way. Looks like Ennis will miss the heaviest part of this storm, as you still have some rain that'll come through, but it doesn't look like we're going to see any kind of major activity going on in that area. And if we zoom this out and kind of go across the four-county area here, there's some activity in eastern Navarro County, and right there on the county line. And if we put this into motion again, that is going to continue to move in, and you've got some new showers actually that are developing here just to the west of Corsicana, but it doesn't look like Navarro County is going to get quite the intensity that Ellis County will. So we'll zoom back into the Ellis County weather area here, So again, from DeSoto on to Pecan Hill down to Palmer, that's where the heaviest activity is right now, and getting word of some power outages as well. But this is where most of the activity, the intense stuff, is going to be. Let's take another look at where we might be looking at the hail right now. Again, right there between Ferris and Oak Leaf. This is kind of where you'll see the heaviest rain, as well as some of that hail possibly over the next several minutes here. And if we put this into motion too, that's moving. It's kind of stationary almost, but that's going to continue to move with the storm. So really Red Oak, Oak Leaf, but Pecan Hill, Ovilla area, and then moving on probably towards the Midlothian area too over the next several minutes is what I would expect to see out of all of this. And I'll tell you, this is a little bit better coverage than what I was expecting to see out of some of this activity this morning. And here's the velocity, and it's not a very clear image there. Let me see if I can if there's any clearer way. Not really. But what you can see is you can see some brighter greens in here. So I think this is going to be between Oakleaf, Pecan Hill here. That's probably going to be where we're going to see the heaviest wind activity, the strongest winds. And we could see winds in excess of 58 miles per hour. That's usually what we look for severe thunderstorm warning criteria here. But this activity going to be moving, it's moving at 15 miles per hour. That's a decent pace, but with the kind of downpours you're looking at, you may actually see some street flooding with this. If you have flood-prone areas, you may see some of that going on. You may, in turn, you may think that we're really getting a whole lot of rain out of this, but realistically, we're not really looking at substantial rain amounts coming out of this storm in terms of the big picture, right? So I don't want anybody to get too excited about that because we're not really looking at any kind of major rain conditions out of this. And, you know, this is going to continue to move through, and I do think that this is probably going to be the most of what we'll see today. Over the course of the next several minutes, I think that we're going to see this move through, and we'll see some cooler temperatures on the back side of it. This actually should help bring in some rain-cooled air, bring in some much more comfortable conditions, at least for a while. It'll be humid, but thankfully, I think that this could, again, take the edge off this afternoon, and especially if we can get some of this cloud cover to stick around. And I'm just starting to hear thunder in my area. If we look at kind of the bigger picture, here's our storm here. It's kind of the top end of this. You see some convection over in Dallas County, and then continuing on to the southeast, and tons of rain from about Tyler down to Jacksonville there, down to Palestine. Just tons of rain through that area. And then up in our area, obviously, we're getting kind of the heavier bit of this as this continues to move through. We're getting the heavy stuff, right? See plenty of reds in there, some darker red in that area just west of Palmer. Man, this storm moving east to west stuff really has me messed up. It's got my directions all kinds of off. But this is the storm that has prompted that severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that warning continues until 12:15. So this is what we're looking at, and I do think that we will have to wait to really get significant activity out of this over the course of the next few minutes in farther parts of the county. So we're talking Maypearl and Five Points and Italy and Forreston. Those areas are going to have to wait a little longer to get this, and I think it's moving slow enough. Again, that we could see some localized flooding. I don't think that we're looking at a flash flood issue or any kind of a major deal in that regard, but it's moving slow enough that those very quick downpours, we could in turn see some conditions where this could bring in this could bring in some problems for those flood-prone areas, those corners of the yard where it tends to flood, and then those streets that don't drain quite as well, and those kinds of situations. And it's funny, the Storm Prediction Center actually just issued a marginal risk for severe weather for our area. So there you go. Obviously, this is kind of the rain we've been waiting for quite some time, and there is quite a bit of lightning here too. So the good news is it's rain, if we needed that. The bad news is there's plenty of lightning, and that could very easily cause some grass fires and those kind of things. So that's the negative side of this. So there's plenty of lightning. If we zoom into this, you can just see all the lightning, those little dots there, all those little lightning indicators throughout this storm. And that could very well cause some problems. I can see in the comments that it's causing a lot of power outages and those kinds of things. If the power goes out here, just know that we're not looking at a tornado threat today. I've already had that question come in a couple of times. No tornado threat with this. Strong winds, heavy rain, frequent lightning, and some small hail is really the extent of what we're going to see. And like I said, maybe some localized flooding if we do actually get some of those areas where the flooding, you're a little more flood prone and that kind of thing. I'm going to take a look out the window here, and getting a pretty good rain and pretty good wind in my location here. And so again, we may very well lose power here as we have the system is not really used to storms at this point, hasn't really gotten much more resilient than this. But hey, overall, enjoy the rain while you can. The rest of the forecast this week, it's sunny, dry, triple digits. It's just the same old, same old. This is the biggest break from the monotony we've had in quite some time. So hopefully, we can get a good rain all the way through Ellis County. If we kind of zoom this out here, just kind of give you an idea of where things are. This is all from Red Oak over to Palmer and down that direction, down towards getting into Ennis very, very soon. Midlothian and Waxahachie will be getting this next. Again, Maypearl, Italy, Forreston, Milford areas, Bardwell, those areas are going to have to kind of wait a little longer to get some of this activity, but it's a pretty solid line. There's a little break here, but I do think that for the most part, there should be enough coverage to pull this down to the southwest and get everybody at least a little bit of rain out of this. And like I said, some small hail. And I just saw someone talk about the wind in Midlothian. So what we see here, this is the outflow boundary that's going ahead of this. So you're going to get cooler winds out of this. You're going to get some rain-cooled air and, very heavy, cooler air, I would just say. This way, you're going to get the cooled air ahead of this storm that's coming through. And then behind that, obviously, you're going to see this very intense, very heavy rain in that area. So as this continues to move through, I'm getting a lot of text messages and messages and things, so I'm trying to respond to what I can. So we're looking at all of this activity moving in, and Ferris is going to be clearing out pretty soon. It's been very heavy there. Continuing heavy in Palmer. Pecan Hill and Oakleaf are getting some of the heavier activity as well. Moving into Waxahachie now, moving towards Midlothian. Red Oak getting the activity now. Continuing on back to the southeast as well. Very soon moving into Ennis, kind of rounding around Ennis right now, but rest assured there will be some activity in that area. The severe thunderstorm warning continues until 12:15, and it's going to continue to move through. Again, we're not looking at a tornado threat here. We are looking at a primarily heavy rain, frequent lightning. Frequent lightning is probably going to be the most noticeable out of all of this. There's going to be some small hail out of this. There's going to be some strong winds. And so all of this is going to continue on to the east, and we're going to continue to see this bring those heavy downpours. And I will tell you, this storm does not look to be slowing down anytime soon. It is growing. It is getting larger as it goes. It's almost building forward now, and kind of hanging on. So Ferris has gotten a fair amount of rain up to this point, as well as parts of southern and southeastern Dallas County. And it is moving into Waxahachie now. I'm getting plenty of it right now. Funny enough, I'm hearing that across the street the power is out, but thankfully, obviously, it's still up here at the studio. That changes. Hey, there's nothing really to be concerned about. Just make sure that you're watching the Facebook page and that kind of thing for those updates as those come through. But I'll stay live as long as I'm able to. But Cedar Hill, DeSoto, this is continuing on. And that's pretty much the extent of the storm. We're going to one more kind of wide view here. There is more activity down in Navarro County. Let's take a look at Navarro County just briefly. There is some activity there, and you see a line of showers moving through from about right there in Rice, just moving in there, down to Kearns, down to Rural Shade here. That's going to continue to move on to the southeast. Doesn't look severe, doesn't look intense or anything of that sort. Definitely not as intense as all of this activity that we're seeing here. And and I'm hearing that there's a 56 mile per hour wind gust in Midlothian. So getting close to severe thunderstorm winds just with the outflow boundary here. So that's not even talking about the main activity that we're looking at. So continuing to monitor this as it comes through. And if you're just joining here, we're not looking at a tornado threat or anything of that sort today. Gusty winds and large hail, really, I would say medium-sized hail, really, is what we're looking at from this. I don't expect to see any major damaging hail, anything kind of serious with that. We could see, as I mentioned, some urban kind of street flooding and localized flooding as a part of this storm, just in general. But overall, the main thing from this, of course, is that we've got some pretty decent rain coming from this. And I want to focus in on something here that is just now developing. Here on the southeast side of Waxahachie, right here, where Business 287 and the bypass come together, look at this purple. We're probably looking at a pretty good hail core developing there. Let's kind of take a more detailed look at that. And a large area of likely hail here from Ike down to Boyce over almost to 45 there. So this is going to be another area where hail is possible, and we got a couple of those, really. This is a quickly intensifying storm. So between Cedar Hill and Oakleaf here, that's one area where you're probably seeing some hail at this point, and then down, again, east of Waxahachie, between Waxahachie and Garrett there, another area of hail in those particular areas. And then if we try to look and see, the velocity's been a little messy today, but you can still see some stronger winds associated with some of this activity, gusty winds, as this storm is moving through, probably mostly going to be on the front end of that. And the severe thunderstorm warning does continue here. So let's get back to that view that we've been watching. So again, the heaviest parts of this storm are right here between Cedar Hill and Oakleaf here. So moving towards the Midlothian area, and then this section that is kind of bowed out a little bit and definitely has some hail associated with it, moving through parts of Waxahachie, mostly southeastern portions of Waxahachie right now. We move into the Ennis area, and I know folks in Ennis are probably tapping their feet, waiting for this to arrive. You will get some showers and thunderstorms. Doesn't look like you're going to get the kind of intensity that Waxahachie Midlothian will, but you look off to the east, and there's still some heavier stuff just outside of Sand Lake there, but for the most part, everything that goes through Ennis is going to be relatively docile compared to what other parts of the county are seeing. The outflow boundary now, moving out of Midlothian, moving towards Maypearl now, just moved through 5 Points, just moved through Italy there, and it is a sign of things to come, and we'll put this in motion again. And you know what? I think I'm going to have to do something really fast. Oh. Come on. The dog is nervous, and the best thing to do is just let her stay in here where she feels comfortable. Hopefully she feels comfortable. This is what happens when you're a work-at-home dad, right? You got everything going on. So this activity is going to continue off to the southwest rather, from the northeast. Again, this is not really typical, right? We usually see it moving this way. She may not actually stick around. I'm not sure what she's going to do. So, again, all of this activity coming in, and it's going to be intensifying as it moves through, as it has done. If we take a look closer at just an example of this, look at this part of the storm and the way that we have this hail core developing there on this side of Waxahachie. And really that's going to be right around, we zoom in on this, kind of get a location. This is Parks Schoolhouse Road, and I'm still kind of getting used to this map as opposed to the last one I used last season. But this is Parks Schoolhouse Road between 287 and Business 287 there. And so right there at, I know one of the elementary schools is here, so this is the area that's going to be seeing most of the hail right now. And, we're looking at hail up to an inch, at least an inch in diameter possible. Could be a little bit bigger than that, especially if we're seeing it focused in that particular area. And, we're still seeing hail possible in northern parts of the county, but it doesn't look as likely in that particular area. So I don't think that we're going to see quite as intense an activity. Well, as I say that, actually, we could be, just south of Oakleaf here. Here's Ovilla. Here's Oakleaf. Here, of course, is Avila Road. Here's that turn where it goes down to the south. And right in here, kind of where that cursor is, this could be, again, another developing kind of focus area of hail, kind of what we call the hail core. And that could bring some more hail over as it continues toward the Midlothian area. I would say Midlothian and Waxahachie right now. Waxahachie currently, Midlothian in just a few minutes, probably getting the most intense activity out of all of this. And again, we're not looking at a tornado threat today. We're not looking at any kind of tornado issue. Tornadoes are just not really part of the equation today, but that doesn't mean that this storm is not going to be really any kind of docile, quiet storm. It's not going to let you miss it. It's going to make sure you know it's there. This hail core, it looks like it's kind of constricting a little bit now, but continues on just outside of downtown Waxahachie there off to the southeast. And again, getting plenty of reports that power is flickering or power is out, those kinds of things going on. This is moving about 15 miles per hour. So that's kind of what we're seeing in terms of that. And off to the northeast in the Ferris area, let's move up that way. A little more activity going to move through, but it's not as intense, not quite as intense as it was just a moment ago. I am going to go and take a quick breather here. Like I said, I'm a dad at home with his kids, so I'm going to go check on them just briefly, and I will be right back with severe weather coverage here in Ellis County. Well, if ever there was a time I was going to go viral, it's now. But I want to make sure I can continue to bring this coverage to you, and I've got to feed the baby. So we're going to do this. I'm going to do this the best I can here. Again, this is what happens when you're a stay-at-home dad. As this stuff continues to move off to the southeast, or the southwest rather, from the northeast, again, this is an atypical movement for these storms. We're going to continue to see hail very possible with all of this activity. And as it continues to move off to the southwest, there may be more power outages and those kinds of things. We could still see very frequent lightning out of all of this activity. We're going to be concerned, I'm concerned a little bit more about possible flooding in some areas just because we're getting those very intense downpours as that continues to move off and more rain is developing kind of behind it. It's still raining in Ferris, and Ferris got some pretty good downpours out of this activity as it was on the front end. So the more that we spend time under these downpours, and there's still possible hail in parts of Waxahachie right now and up in Oakleaf. That's going to be moving towards Midlothian right now. So that is really going to be the situation as far as the storms continuing to move off to the southeast. And the power is still here, but I know that there's a lot of power outages across the area. And my other concern is with all of the lightning, despite all the rain we're getting, the lightning can still spark fires. And as we just saw with this latest update here, you can see that the heavy rain continues. Kind of looks like the hail is just really bullseyeing eastern parts of Waxahachie right now, right off of 876 there. And that's going to continue to move on to the southeast, possibly towards Five Points and Forreston, that area. So those areas we'll have to watch. There's no tornado threats right now. There's no threat of really any kind of major damaging weather, but there's enough that you want to make sure you're inside. You want to make sure those outdoor items are secured at this point. And unfortunately, though, this is not going to be enough to kind of counter our drought conditions. And in case anyone's wondering, this is Jensen, by the way, for folks that are just kind of meeting him on the fly. And he doesn't mind. You don't mind, do you, buddy? You good? Yeah, you don't mind. You're eating. You're cool. You're good. And Charlie's watching TV. He's fine, too. He's taking care of the cat that's currently freaking out, the cats and the dogs. But the severe thunderstorm warning does continue until, let's see, 12:15 here. I think is the time period we're looking at as far as when that should expire. And I think that by then we'll have a better idea of whether that needs to be extended or if that activity is going to be moving out of that area. And I'm hearing now that there's some hail near Scarborough Fair. So it almost sounds like the radar could be a little bit behind here. This is moving about 15 to 20 miles per hour. Not terribly fast, but fast enough to where if you go outside and look, oh, it's going to rain, go ahead and secure those outdoor items and kind of prepare your porches and those kind of things for these storms. This is not what we're used to for this time of year right now. Certainly not this year. We've been without rain or without severe weather for quite some time. So not surprised at all if we're getting these power outages. And I think there's a message here saying that Matt, the moderator, of course, that his trampoline has been a little bit relocated about 15 feet further north than originally planned. So, that's something that could happen as well. And anything that you have outside that's not been secured is pretty much going to be relocated probably at this point. And we're about 20 minutes away now, just turned to 11:55, about 20 minutes away now from this warning being either allowed to expire or extended or continue or whatever the case could be. And again, I'm sure this is going to have me going viral, but that's not the intent here. I'm just trying to keep you guys informed. So let me pull a dad move here, put the bottle there, and we'll zoom in a little bit. Again, this is Waxahachie, so this is the heaviest part of the storm in the Waxahachie area. And we've been hearing reports that if I move over here west of Waxahachie, that near the Scarborough Fair area, we've seen some shower and thunderstorm activity turning into some hail that's out there. And it doesn't look that intense on radar, but the radar might be a little bit behind. And then, sometimes when you have this kind of lift with these storms, it doesn't take much to produce hail when we have the hot temperatures. We have plenty of heat to work with and plenty of instability for these storms to work with. And as we look towards eastern Waxahachie, towards the Boyce area there, hey, we're looking at some hail possible there as well. Really, any parts of these storms could be bringing very strong winds. I wouldn't quite say damaging winds. I don't think we're strong enough to really do a whole lot of damage there. Shouldn't have to get the insurance involved. Again, trampolines, playgrounds, those kinds of things, the outdoor amenities that you have there, the lightweight stuff, might be relocated a little bit. But, as you get over towards Ike and Boyce and Rager Springs out that area, it looks like that could be where we're seeing the larger hail presently at this time. Again, one more dad move here. Let's see if we can get up to, okay. Waxahachie wants my attention here. So as you see those purples, kind of the violet and the purple colors, that is where we are seeing, again, probably the biggest probability of hail. So at this point, I think that the Neenah area, Forreston, those areas, probably going to see the biggest focus in terms of the hail and maybe some of the stronger winds. Usually where the hail is, sometimes you have those stronger winds too, because that's your strongest downdraft winds. That's where you get some downbursts, some microbursts, and that kind of thing. So if you're getting larger hail, be advised that you could get a rush of wind at some point as well. So that's usually where the downdraft is going to be a little bit more intense. And if I can get up to the Midlothian area, just starting to move into Midlothian now. Again, strong winds, small hail going to be possible with that. I'm getting some messages here about what it looks like in the Midlothian area. And if I get out of the way of the radar here, you see that the Mountain Peak area hasn't really gotten anything yet. Still moving towards that area. Down further south than that, Maypearl, you're still waiting for some of this as well. But overall, going to be watching for how this is going to impact other parts of the county. The areas that have been hit, cooler temperatures, which is great, but plenty of power outages as well and other problems being caused there. So I think we can go into burping here. Oh, I know. Oh, you're fine. Oh, all right. I mean, this is not as easy standing up, holding him like that. So again, we see that Midlothian is about to get hit here. It's going to be moving into town, continuing to rain in Ovilla and Oak Leaf. They're still getting heavy rain in that area. That's why I'm a little bit concerned about how much flooding could occur in some flood-prone areas. Again, the corner of the yard where water tends to pool, or whatever the case may be. And those farther southern parts of the county, get you to sit just like that. Farther south, obviously not near as much going on. Here's the most intense part of the storm in Waxahachie. From about Avalon down to Frost here, a little bit of activity, not near as intense. I think this part of the storm going to continue probably towards Maypearl, 5 points, kind of the Great House area out there. But as far as, let me kind of move over here. Italy, Milford, those areas, I don't think you're really going to be seeing quite as much activity as other parts of the county could. And just in general, we're going to be looking at all this activity kind of continuing to move off to the southeast, but this is going to move kind of this way. So I don't think that's really going to hit the far southern parts of the county. I do expect everybody in Ellis County to at least get some rain. It may not be much, but I think everybody in Ellis County will at least get a little bit. No more? Okay. So, just in general, again, we're looking at kind of the southern part of the county. Ennis starting to get rain now, not near as heavy in Ennis as it is in parts of southern Waxahachie right now over towards Midlothian. Again, reaching back to Ovilla, Oak Leaf, Red Oak, getting some heavier rain there as well. And we all know these moves, right? Use the cheek to steady everything. So this is going to continue to move off into Midlothian. Really, the looks like the heaviest activity, the possible hail is probably north of Midlothian right now. But that doesn't excuse the fact that you're going to be getting some pretty heavy conditions there. And just outside of Waxahachie, I mean, if you look here, let me see if I can do that. There we go. You can kind of see there's very heavy rain there, possibly some hail, lots of lightning with that part of the storm too. So an abundance of at least rain and cooler temperatures across the area right now. Matt, if you can send me a message on current temperatures, give me the current temperature at Midway Airport if you can. Should be able to get that from the National Weather Service or from the MEDARS. The METARS is kind of the network of usually at airports those temperatures. So, Matt, if you're able to get that to me, I'd be very curious. The temperature here at the studio is 72 degrees. 72 degrees. I wanted to make sure to get that on camera, that it is 72 degrees right now. That is wonderful. I love that, right? I mean, let's hang on to that as long as we can, right, before we get back into these triple digits for the remainder of the week here. It's just going to be awful, but we're going to get a break today, so I'll be interested to see what the high temperature looks like for today after all of this rain-cooled air has moved through. It's about 12:02 right now, and we've only got 3 or 4 hours until we hit the peak heating of the day, but I think this could very well make a dent in it. So we may not hit 100 degrees. We may have a break in the monotony a little bit. Doesn't look like we're going to be record-breaking today. That's going to be for the first time since July 4th, since we've had that happen. But, we're getting rain, and that's, pretty much all we can ask for. Lower temperatures right now across the area. Are you enjoying this? Very, very satisfied baby here. So let me see. Let me see if I can see some comments here. Quarter-size hail in Midlothian. Let's see. Hailing now in Waxahachie. Yeah, most of the hail in Waxahachie is really going to be the southern half. Northern Waxahachie isn't getting the kind of intensity that those other places are. And I see some roof-related comments there. I just want to remind everybody that, of course, Synergy Roofing is the official roofer of Ellis County Weather, premier roofer in Waxahachie and Ellis County. So there are roof comments going out there here and there, but when it comes to the official roofer of Ellis County and the people that I rely on, that's Steve Rainey and his crew over at Synergy. And I'm looking forward to getting the guys at MoPros back on maybe Wild Weather Wednesdays or something to talk about how they're handling everything with the exceptional drought conditions that we're in. Maybe this can drop us down to extreme. I hate to say that. I hate to say maybe we can get to extreme. That'll be better. But we're at exceptional right now, and that's actually the top tier that we have. That's kind of where we're at right now. This guy is not slowing down. I mean, I'd love to be able to sit here and eat, right? We good? You set? Yeah, all right. Yeah, he's good. So the severe thunderstorm warning, if anybody's just joining here, and if you're in southern Waxahachie, let me move this over a little bit where you can better see that. If you're in the Midlothian area, Maypearl area, the Five Points area, Italy, Forreston, you may have just joined in. Severe thunderstorm warning continues until 12:15, so about another 10 minutes or so. And, there may be another downstream warning issued for that as that continues off to the southeast. You can see that it's kind of getting towards the end of the warning area now. That warning, it kind of ends in the Maypearl area, down to Forreston, and down almost to Frost there. But that could be moved over a little bit. But, southern Waxahachie just getting pounded right now. I think we're good here at the studio. Most of the activities kind of left, and we never lost power. I heard that it went down across the street, but fortunately we're left on the air here. So this guy's going to continue to just absolutely, yeah, you got no issues right now. You are totally... This is going to be the most relaxed person in the county right now, I think. And I'm sure most of you are relaxed, too, as you're seeing rain come into the county for the first time in quite some time. This is just incredible. And if you'll give this stream a share, too, for all those, I should have said that at the top, but give it a share so that the folks that maybe don't really know what's coming at this point have an idea. If you're just joining this, the primary threats, we're not looking at a tornado threat today. The primary threats we're looking at are a chance for some pretty gusty winds, some hail going on possibly, and frequent lightning in parts of this storm. I can still hear the thunder rumbling in the distance from me. Southern Waxahachie, as well as the Midlothian area, appear to be getting the heaviest activity right now. Let me see if I can kind of move this up a little bit more so we can kind of get an idea on that. And the outflow boundary, if I step out of the way, you can see the outflow boundary from almost to Burleson down to Alvarado to Grandview there. That's going to be bringing some gusty winds, and then behind it, obviously, is all of this activity. So this is all the red and the kind of the little dark reds and everything. That's the heaviest activity, again, from about Mansfield down to Midlothian right now, and then southern Waxahachie. That area in southern Waxahachie going to be moving towards Maypearl and Five Points now. As this large storm continues on. Let's see where you're at here. The good news is, as I mentioned, we're not looking at anything that's going to do any kind of serious damage. What's up, buddy? Good. We're not looking at anything that's going to do any kind of major damage here. I don't foresee, anything that's going to have to get the insurance company involved. That's a good one. I don't think we're going to have to get the insurance company involved at all, but, we're going to be... There's the spit up. This couldn't be too easy, could it? Did I move you too quickly? Might have gotten a little bit ambitious here and moved him a little too fast. Yeah, you're all right. That wasn't much. All right. Can't go too easy, can it? So as we continue to watch this activity from, let's actually zoom out a little bit more and kind of get a broad view here. So really from South Arlington over to Midlothian, Waxahachie. What? Okay, I'm sorry. My mistake, right? So from South Arlington to Midlothian, Waxahachie, down to Ennis and Corsicana, all getting rain right now. The heaviest activity obviously is in Ellis County, where a warning continues for about another 7 to 8 minutes here. So that's what we're watching very closely. And, as this activity continues, there's a little bit moving from Italy into Milford, so it does look like that area will at least get some rain, not nearly as intense as what has come through certain parts of the county. And I'll put this into motion for you here. And you can kind of see just down towards Blooming Grove and Italy and Milford there, brand new activity popping up. Now, that doesn't look intense at this time, but some of this activity has been intensifying pretty quickly. So that could very well change pretty fast for that particular area. And just in general, though, I do think that the strongest part of this storm that is south of Waxahachie does appear to be losing some of that intensity. Not quite as terribly intense there. Now, you do see further development ahead of that down towards the 5 Points area. If I move this up a little more, you can see that right in the 5 Points area, right around Lumpkins and Forreston, some additional development ahead of it. And as that outflow boundary continues to march ahead of all of this activity, that's going to continue to spark off new development behind it. And some of that could intensify very quickly. So just in general, we could very well be seeing more activity develop. Sorry about that. Could be seeing more activity develop going forward in farther southern parts of the county that could become intense. So you're going to have to just, when the rain starts, go inside, just kind of wait it out. Some of this can intensify quickly, and when I say quickly, I mean it can be faster than you sometimes would expect. Sometimes you think, oh, that didn't look very bad, and you go in and just wait it out, and all of a sudden, you got quite a storm on your hands. That's kind of the way this has been a little bit. But as this continues to move forward, we'll see if they issue another warning here. It may not necessarily be necessary. If we take a look and just kind of see where the hail cores are. Yeah, I know. It doesn't look, the hail cores don't look near as intense or impressive as they did quite some time ago. And so that may be a kind of a sign that we're looking at things being a little bit less intimidating than they were a short time ago. So I do think that, we'll take a look here so I can zoom in just a little bit. So it looks like in the Neenah Forreston area, we could be looking at some smaller hail. We're not seeing the grays that really indicate severe hail most of the time. And then as we go further north, just outside, get a little further out, here's a good burp. As we get between Mansfield and Britain there, down really kind of to the north of Midlothian, those areas, these are probably where you're going to see the most intense. I mean, you're really making me work today. That's really where you're going to see the most intense the most intense activity as far as that hail and some of those heavier winds. Oh, I know. You want more, I know. This kid eats a lot. So, if we continue on and let's just do one more, just kind of get back to the default view here. So, all right, there we go. So if we put this in motion, obviously to the front there, let me kind of step out of the way. You can see that outflow boundary intensifying too as the outflow from those storms picks up. And then the storms themselves spreading out a little bit, not looking near as intense as they did a moment ago. So really we're kind of transitioning to a small hail and just very heavy rain threat. More lightning is frequent with this, and it looks like we're seeing some lightning on the back end of the storm as well. So even if things calm down, don't assume that you're completely out of the woods there. The Severe Thunderstorm warning will expire in the next 3 to 4 minutes at 12:15. There could be another downstream. Yeah, so new warning coming for far southern. So parts of Ellis County will be included in a new warning. That could be a warning that better covers Midlothian here shortly. And that'll be issued here pretty quickly. But I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the live coverage here to make sure this guy is taken care of. But just keep in mind that there is a new severe thunderstorm warning that will be coming out very shortly. That is going to probably cover far eastern and southern parts of the county for parts of the storm that do appear to be weakening at this point. But I don't think that we're going to see the kind of intensity that we saw early on in this situation. I'll continue to monitor this. I'm going to give this guy a little more attention and give him a chance to wrap up his feeding here, but I will bring more live coverage if necessary as rain finally has arrived across Ellis County.